So centre versus Bengal government, is this a battle of egos or something more? Why did the centre recall a bureaucrat, a top bureaucrat, after clearing his extension? Is the bureaucrat reportedly guilty of indiscipline, or is a bureaucrat simply caught in a political centre versus TMC crossfire? I'm joined by Jawhar Sircar, former bureaucrat and from the Bengal cadre. He joins me. I'm joined by Sanju Verma, the BJP spokesperson, and Riju Dutta, the TMC spokesperson. I want to come to you, Jawhar Sircar, first before we get caught in a political tug of war, because as a senior bureaucrat, do you believe this is unprecedented and unfortunate, should never have happened, that a chief secretary is caught in such an escalating war of words?
Yes, of course. No chief secretary has been called. I wouldn't use the word recalled. No chief secretary has been summoned in the history of India to leave his state on the last date of his service and present himself almost like an accused without a posting in the government of India to satisfy some pique or some angst or some ego. You see, I have served both the governments as secretary level, principal secretary level, and I'm fairly neutral, or I think I'm fairly neutral on this score. I've been caught in crossfire. But this is one of the most inane things to have happened, and whoever advised the Prime Minister is obviously not fully literate or plain stupid.
No, that's a very strong word. You're saying whoever advised the Prime Minister is not fully literate. Are you saying, therefore, that you believe this has been done only to satisfy the political ego of the Prime Minister?
Absolutely. It's in clear language. 6.1 says that consultation is a must. No state officer of the IAS or IPS can be withdrawn to Delhi, withdrawn by the centre, without the formal clearance of the state government. We have all served it, and even when I was chosen, my posting was refused by the state government. Hard luck, we all went through it. That is federalism. We
so you believe this is counter to the federal spirit, recalling a chief secretary without consulting a state government on the last day of his office is counter to India's federal spirit? Do you see it as unconstitutional?
Not me, Rajdeep. It is the rule that is enshrined that has worked well for 70 years.
Right.
There have been opposition parties here, there have been opposition parties there. It has worked. Now, all of a sudden, you can't smother rule down. Look what they did today. Everybody knew he was going to retire. Everyone knows that he has not served in Delhi for a single day in his life. So there's no question of recalling him. There's a question of summoning him. Any case, and when the state refuses to let him go for a very justifiable reason, that why should I let him go on the last day? You have issued an order on the 24th of May saying that we extend the service for 3 months for fighting COVID. Now, that's something that the centre could do as well. But for fighting COVID, we have extended by 3 months. And then you issue a notice. It's not an order. A notice informing that the appointments committee of the cabinet have decided to have your presence in the DOPT. For what? You are calling one of the senior most IAS officers in India at present and dishonoring him. You're telling him to be there present in some deputy secretary room. This is not on.
You're using very strong words, and I think that, I think they need to be sort of seen in the context of what is happening. You also use the word illiterate for the Modi government's advisors. Is it illiteracy or is it pure politics being played out?
Look, there's a saying in Bengali, telling mother all about her sister. I mean, it is just, I have served the government for 42 years in absolute neutrality. I resigned from the post. Any case, now the short point is the conflict clause that is being raised.
You can't tell Sanju Verma on this show, no cross talk. Go ahead.
There is a conflict clause that is being raised. Conflict clause comes in only when the question of a conflict. It's just a difference of opinion. The state government has asked Mr. Modi's government, which of your order is correct? 24th May or the later one? Which is correct? Do you extend him his service or do you want him in Delhi? It's politely asked about it. This is what is called a difference of opinion. A conflict is a far higher thing. If you take every dissent to be anti-national, you get into this sort of mental frame. A mental frame. I don't know who has briefed this lady who was reading out from a piece of paper. Again, these briefer. Now, this is a conflict clause comes at the last stage. Every fever is not COVID.
Okay.
Please try to understand. Every fever is not COVID. Every difference of opinion is not a conflict. So
Okay.
you can invoke the conflict clause only when certain things are met.